And Sailor Moon Crystal is also where the movie, that style of animation is what's going to be used. I believe it's picking up on the events of the Dark Circus, which you get some really interesting characters out of. I'm not going to go into that just because it's not really vital to the central workings, if that makes sense. So, what else can we get into before I start going down my list of shit? I mean, okay, there we go. So, the creator of Sailor Moon used a lot of references for Usagi's family from her personal life, to the point where her parents and her brother have the same names as the creator, which is, you know, kind of a cool little fact. If you didn't know it, now you do. Hey, I could be like Fat from Rosario Vampire. Alright, seriously. It's fine. Don't worry about it if you don't know what I'm talking about. But you should Google it. Anyway, back to the anime at hand. So, she actually has a degree in chemistry, and that actually is why a lot of the characters within the Sailor Moon universe itself are named for minerals, gemstones, that type of shit. And actually, that's how I learned what some of that shit was. Watching Sailor Moon. Learned how to memorize some stuff that way. And we're not going to get into the whole sub-dub debate here. It's all good. Just don't watch an English dub with subtitles. No, kidding. Do what you want. I really don't care. So, at the time of Sailor Moon's creation, the writer, obviously, she wrote it, she illustrated it. Sailor Moon was her baby. She was trying to give female readers a character that, while a superhero, could still be relatable and could still be like, okay, this is a real girl. Like, she's dealing with real things. And she's a superhero. You know, I mean, Sailor Moon herself, Serena, Usagi, whatever you want to call her, she is shown as being kind of lazy, kind of boy crazy, clumsy, just a regular kind of gal, which is really kind of a fun little thing that she did with the main character. I mean, the show is very heavily focused on building friendships and maintaining them and just growing up with these people and learning to trust them, rely on them, you know, an actual friendship, not Mean Girls or Jawbreaker. Although Jawbreaker was actual friendship. Sorry, I digress. Now, even within the show, it shows struggles of friendships within different personalities, to the point where Rei and Usagi are shown at first to not even really get along or really particularly like each other. You know, they have petty arguments, they do petty things to each other. When they relaunch, so the 20th anniversary edition of Sailor Moon, which is Sailor Moon Crystal, took out a lot of stuff from the original, and I know that it's not story or anything that was vital to it with the revamp, and that's cool. We get it. But they did take out some of that dynamic and some of the fights and the butting heads that Serena and Rei did. But, I mean, they ended up growing really close and becoming awesome friends. So, let's see. The Sailor Scouts, the core group, was Usagi, or Sailor Moon. Her sidekick was Luna. Sailor Mercury, which is Amy. There's Sailor Mars, which is Ray. Sailor Jupiter. Now, I didn't catch in Crystal if they did it, but I know in the original, her American name was Lita, which is really cool. Now, I think it's Kino Mikado? In the Japanese version. There's Sailor V or Sailor Venus, who is Mina. And her sidekick is Artemis, which is kind of important for later on. The rest of them are Sailor Chibi Moon, and her sidekick is Diana, who's a cute little kitten. Tuxedo Mask, and then the outer Senshi would be Pluto, Uranus, Neptune, Saturn. Pluto and Saturn. Gold. Favorites. So, Sailor Moon anime initially came from the creator's Sailor V writings, which is where it gets a little interesting, I guess, in the dynamic of the series and telling it and recognizing what kind of went on. So, technically, even in the anime, if you want to get into it, Sailor V is technically, or Sailor Venus, I'm going to go with Sailor V, it's just easier, is the first Sailor Scout to have her abilities because she had Artemis for a while before the other scouts kind of got their stuff going. So keep that in mind. Like, while people say, oh, Sailor Moon was the first, she really, technically, even in the anime, was not. Oh, excuse me. Oh, food's talking back. Now, when Sailor V, Mina, Sailor Venus, whatever, finally shows herself to the other scouts and actually has a conversation instead of showing up and just vanishing, she reveals to them that she, in fact, is Neo Queen Serenity, or at least that's what her and Artemis believe at this point, because she was the first one, to get the power. She's had Artemis with her the whole time. She's been helping the Sailor Scouts through a video game in the arcade. That's kind of like what she's been doing. So, it's believed that, okay, she's got to be Neo Queen Serenity because of just that. Which we'll get to. Oh, will we get to it? Because we're going to. We're going to get to it all. There we go. Okay. So, I mean, Mina, she's a cool character, and side note, I don't know how many of you have watched, any of these animes, but, I'll use popular one, My Hero, the character Mina, they all see, or even Danganronpa, there's a character named Mina in that too. To me, they all seem to have very similar personality traits, which is they're very excitable, they're a bit dramatic, they're very talkative and right? Okay, maybe it's just me, but it's something I've noticed in animes with characters that have the name Mina. Again, it could just be me seeing something that's not there. Anyway, moving on. So, Mina is, like I said, the first scout. Her and Artemis are fighting the dark forces for a while, actually, before the other girls even show up, even get their powers, any of the things. So, it makes sense as to why she would and why Artemis would actually believe that she is Neo Queen Serenity. I'm really not going to get super into anything because, one, spoilers, two, if I get into it, I'm just going to spiral and go down this crazy rabbit hole and take you all with me, and it's going to be hours. We'll be here for days. Okay? So we're not going to do that. I'm going to try to rein in. Focus. Yeah, Sarah Bear. Focus. Anyway. So, Mina is very stereotypical of a teenage, middle school age girl in the fact that she idol worships, which is fine. Everyone's got their thing. Don't knock anyone if it's not your thing. People are allowed to like separate things. We don't all have to like the same things. In fact, we all shouldn't. It makes us interesting and unique and not robots. Nobody likes robots. I'm scared to death of them. Ha! Molly facts.